Hey everybody, Storm Tracker 2 digital meteorologist Bobby Corser with you here in the Weather Center. Want to talk to you about incoming snow. Now, we're not going to be talking about snow down on the valley floor yet. There is a very, very slight chance, I'm talking maybe 2%, of actually seeing some accumulating snow on the valley floor in the next 10 days or so. But we're going to see Cascade snow return, which is great. We know that we are at a record snowpack deficit right now. If you happen to watch our sister station ARC yesterday, Wesley Ogle was up on Mount Hood at Government Camp, and you could see bare earth right there on the ski runs at Government Camp, and that's really sad. We've talked a lot about the snowpack, but thankfully over the next 10 days, we're really going to kind of add to that. So that is great news. I'm going to take you here in the course of this video and just show you some of the things that I personally look at when I start to forecast snow here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Willamette Valley. If you don't know me, I was born and raised in Portland. Snow in Oregon, and especially on the west side of the Cascades, is one of my absolute favorite things. I love a good Pacific Northwest snowstorm. I love snow in general. But forecasting here is extremely difficult. It's one of the reasons why I became a meteorologist, because I am very interested in getting more snow in Portland and why it does or does not happen. So over the course of the video, I'm going to show you some of the tips and the tricks and the things that I look at to forecast for snow that we, of course, put on TV, or the National Weather Service also uses a lot of these same things. And we'll get into the difference between what we do on TV and what the National Weather Service says and does, because it's two different functions, but we are trying to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to start this and put this map into motion. This is called absolute vorticity. You'll see the lines get squiggly, and they're yellow, and they're red, and they're fun. These are indicating in the atmosphere way, way, way above our heads how much spin is in the atmosphere. Now, generally, with these areas of spin, you will find areas of low pressure. That's what we're looking for. We want these coming off of the Pacific Ocean. We want these moving inland. And that's what we're finally getting here when we look at the vorticity. It is really cool. Now, this is what are known as geopotential heights. This is, again, way up in the atmosphere, and these are what I'm looking for to move into the Pacific Northwest if we want snow. The darker purples, the darker colors, the reds, the purples, that indicates cooler air. We are finally starting to see that move in off of the Pacific Ocean. We've been in this yellows and the blues where temperatures are in the 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s in some locations. You got to remember, about 15 days ago, we had some temperatures on the Oregon coast near 70 degrees. It's been a very, very wild and wacky winter. There's no doubt about it. We also look at comparing models. So right here on your screen, the left side is the European model. The right side is the American GFS. Now, this is going out through Tuesday, February 17th. So it's about 3 days from now. I want you to look how these maps look pretty much in agreement, right? There's a little bit of subtleties here and there where things don't exactly line up. But this is what we would call in meteorology world as good agreement. We're talking about the models being in good agreement. This is a good example of that. We like seeing this when we're forecasting because that tells us that, we have higher confidence that an event will happen. Now, again, you're looking at the heights, you're looking at the anomalies, how different they are from what we consider average for this time of year. And these numbers are relatively colder. We're seeing colder air finally make its way out of Canada, out of Alaska, down the west coast, parking itself right off of the mouth of the Columbia River, specifically for this time frame, which was 9Z Tuesday morning. So that's just about 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. So cold air in place. It's moving down the coast. It's really great to see. However, we advance the slide to the next one, and it doesn't look as good. Again, same models, the same two models. You got the Euro on the left, the GFS on the right, and we fast forward 4 days. Now we're looking at Friday. Completely different solutions. Now, it is not uncommon to see this happen. We see models variations all the time. I'll show you in a couple slides where we're looking at individual ensemble members where each model is made up of different members. Those all run together. You get the average, and then you get this output like you're seeing here on the screen. But this is one of the reasons why it is so hard to forecast here in the Northwest. If we saw that models were in constant agreement all the time, it'd be much easier. But the longer in time you go out, the more likelihood you're going to have errors, or you're going to have two different solutions. This is two very different solutions. The Euro keeps us cold and locked in. Meanwhile, the GFS wants to warm us back up. Now, again, temperatures probably in the 50s for the GFS. The Euro, though, they're probably closer to freezing. So something that we are looking at. And I look at this stuff particularly hard because this is going to give me a clue kind of what each model ensemble member is doing. This here is a ensemble total member forecast. Now, this is the American GFS. This is a total snow member run. So there are 30 individual runs that make up the GFS for each model output period. So 30 members here, all but one say that we could see measurable snow in Portland over the next few days. Now, I am not putting a lot of stock into this at all based on what I just saw, right? So the GFS will say, well, you know, we could see warmer temperatures as we go into the weekend. However, you know, a couple of our models might say that that might not be the case. Again, when we're looking at the previous slides, and it is stuff like this, you're like, okay, well, it's in disagreement versus like this where it's in agreement. But you have to remember, when we're looking at like this slide here, you can see that there are different outputs here. One of these models, if you follow along, say, individual model run number 11, ensemble number 11, would put a foot of snow in Portland by the time that we get to Tuesday, the 24th. I'm going to put absolutely zero stock in that because that's just one member. Conversely, you go up to, say, member number 18, and there's no snow in Portland that day. Or if you want to go down to member 5, there's a half an inch that day. So again, we're seeing a lot of these things that are different. If every snow forecast came back and looked like this where things were in agreement versus this where things are wildly in disagreement, you'd have a much easier time forecasting. So I'm looking at this output here that comes out every 6 hours to kind of see what models are thinking. And again, data goes in, it assimilates, it runs its course, and each individual member comes back, and then you take the average of that, and that is kind of what we call the operational. And this is what you're seeing now when it comes to operational. This is kind of the snapshot for this time period. So that's the GFS. Now let's look at the Euro. Same time period. Again, the Euro's got 50 individual members. The GFS has 30. But again, you're seeing that, you know, some of these want to say, oh, well, we could maybe see a very small smattering of snow starting maybe Monday or Tuesday, but nothing there. And you really don't get into a lot of members saying we actually have a lot of snow until probably, again, the 23rd or the 24th. I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that. That's 10 days away. And honestly, during the course of the winter, a lot of these models say we have snow 10 days away, but it just stays there at 10 days away. It just constantly gets pushed back until basically it either snows or it doesn't, and you hit the end of the season and it's over. So we're looking at stuff like this all the time to try and figure out what are models hinting at. We're looking at text outputs where we're seeing numbers, you know, from model soundings. Where are we seeing, you know, temperatures at the surface freezing? Are we seeing temperatures below freezing all the way up to, say, you know, 500 millibars, 10,000, 20,000 feet? That's the stuff that we're really diving into when it comes to snow forecasting. We look at temperature forecasts. Of course, you guys are used to seeing this type of thing. We'll put this map into motion. You know, what's going to happen? Oops, we got to back up here real quick. We'll get to that in just a second. But here's your temperature forecast, right? So this is going to go throughout the course of the weekend. Temperatures are cold back east. We know that. Starts to warm up again just a little bit in the southwest. Places like Dallas and Houston, Monday in the 70s. Portland's at 40. We're finally starting to get some cold air in here, which is great. But we need lots more of it, and I do believe it's on the way. So the forecast that we're going to be talking about the next couple days, especially today, tomorrow, and into Monday, is 1, Cascade snow coming back, and 2, we're looking at elevation snow down to about 1,500 feet. The cold air is going to settle on top of us. You know, we were talking about that here. This is what we're looking at. Again, this is Tuesday morning. Monday into Tuesday, we have cold air in place. Both the Euro and the GFS say that. And these numbers would lead me to believe that we would probably have snow down to about 1,500 feet. 2,000 feet to 1,500 feet kind of is that sweet spot that I believe of. But We also can't rule out that folks in some areas could see some snow mixing with rain. 1,500 feet in the Portland metro area really doesn't exist. I mean, the highest point really is Council Crest at 1,100 feet in the West Hills. It does grow a little bit higher as you get out toward Vernonia. And then once you get into the Coast Range, obviously the foothills is 1,500 feet. So the folks in the immediate metro area, we're not worried about snow accumulating on the valley floor until, and I say this very loosely, maybe later in the week. And even then it looks light if anything were to happen. And again, we have a lot of time for a lot of model runs to happen, and we're going to be paying a lot of attention to that going forward. But when we talk about snow down to 1,500 feet, okay, nobody in the metro area is going to see it accumulate. We could see a heavy snow shower, maybe push that snow level down to about 500 feet. So those of you at the Oregon Zoo, out toward Corbett, Sandy, Estacada, Camas up on top of the hill could see it. Hawkinson, maybe even that as well. The chances of seeing snow will increase for elevation 1,500 feet throughout the course of the week. I believe by the time that we do a new video for you next Saturday, we'll have seen snow in places like Sandy and Estacada and probably Camas, maybe even Hawkinson, like I said, maybe even Council Crest on a heavy snow shower. So something that we are looking at, but I want to talk about as well what we're looking for in the metro area, because that's important. People want to know. Again, I think we see the chance that we see what Rhonda Shelby refers to as chunky rain. In the weather world, we call it windshield analysis, where you're looking at the rain and occasionally you'll get a splat. That's a snowflake that's partially melted. If you've paid any attention to your windshield when you see those events happening, you know what I'm talking about. So we could see some rain mixing with snow or snow mixing with rain. Again, a heavy snow shower can push the snow level down to about 500 feet, so I would not be surprised if maybe the West Hills does see a snow shower. Any snow that would fall would not accumulate just too warm at the surface. But something that we are looking at. So a lot of people have seen snowflakes on their phone. A lot of people have heard the National Weather Service talking about maybe a slight possibility of snow throughout the course of the week, maybe especially in the morning hours if we do get a heavy shower. Again, we're saying here on K2 that snow level 1,500 feet, at least through the weekend and into the start of the work week, and then we'll kind of reassess what we see at the end of the work week. But I want to talk about something that people bring up, and this is the difference between what you see on TV and what the National Weather Service issues. The National Weather Service has gone to POPs, or probability of precipitation. They really love probabilistic forecasting, where they're going to assign a probability percentage to an event happening. So, every morning I get an email from the National Weather Service saying, here are what we think is going to happen if there's any type of weather threat, and that could be anything from snow to severe weather with thunderstorms, tornadoes, stuff like that. So this morning we got one, and it's saying, hey, there is a 2% chance of 1/10 of an inch of snow, so just like barely this, accumulating on the valley floor in the early part of the work week. Okay. The reason why they say that is they're looking at the same data I am. They look at the same models. We go through the same process, but they have to assign a possibility or a probability number of what's going to happen. I'm comfortable saying no snow. Rhonda Shelby is comfortable saying it. You'll hear it from Avery, and you'll hear it from Sarah Bagby, and of course Dave on Monday. We see that there is a slight chance, but we're not going to say that because there's no reason to have you guys get snow tires or anything like that. We forecast on TV for impacts. The National Weather Service forecasts for likelihood of something happening. We're both issuing forecasts. We're both doing a great job in explaining what's happening, but we want you to be aware of the potential impact. That's why we are under a Storm Tracker 2 weather alert for the Cascades this weekend. And then once we get to Monday, that alert will carry over to now snow down to 1,500 feet. Most of the people that watch TV in the Portland area live below 1,500 feet. We live really close to sea level, right? The Portland area, Vancouver, McMinnville, Hillsborough, Beaverton, all those communities, majority of them are under 500 feet elevation. But we do have a significant number of people that do live above 1,500 feet. So that's why that alert will go into effect, or is already in effect, because it will impact people in Sandy and Estacada and Camas and those places if we get heavy showers. Snow level will sit about 1,500 feet, like we said, but we want you to be aware, especially now it's Valentine's Day weekend. By the way, happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Can't wait to see what you guys do to celebrate and have fun today. But people are traveling. We have, I've personally got friends that are going over the Cascades today, coming back from Central Oregon, and some other friends that are headed to Central Oregon. And I'm just telling them, hey, you're going to encounter some snow on Highway 26 and on Highway 20. Snow's coming. And if you're going to be over in Central Oregon on the back half of next week, coming across, you're going to see lots of snow on the mountain passes. So we want you guys to be aware. We forecast for impacts that are going to affect you. The National Weather Service is forecasting for likelihood of events happening. Now, if the National Weather Service came out and said there is a 90% chance that we're going to see 3 inches of snow in Portland, I guarantee you, us here on Katu and everybody else on TV in Portland would be saying the exact same thing. We'd be looking at forecast amounts, right? So if they're saying 90% chance of at least an inch, we're going to be talking about that as well. The difference is we forecast for impacts that impact your life. They're doing it for probability, chances of things happening. So again, we're doing the same things. We just kind of go about it different ways. Easiest way to simplify that is, again, we want to forecast for things that are going to impact your life. Does it make it difficult? Is it hard to drive somewhere? Is it hard to get to the airport if you need to fly somewhere? Obviously, it rains a lot in Portland. We know how to drive in the rain. When it comes to snow, though, it's a different animal. So if we do see snow, we will let you know. Of course, we would have Storm Tracker 2 weather alerts up for that impact for travel. Right now, we have the one up in the Cascades just for that purpose, because people will be driving over the passes over the next 48 hours, and they're going to encounter some snow. So as we look forward to the middle of next week, and then, chances of, again, lower elevation snow staying with us through Thursday, Friday of next week, this upcoming week, we will continue to watch and see what happens. Take a look real quick at your 7-day. It looks good, not going to lie. It's going to be a decent day today. Showers continuing for us here. Temperatures now, they've cooled off. You notice that we're now below normal for our high today. We're going to go for 49. We dry out a little bit on Sunday, but then Monday, rain comes back in. So we get really that first big push of snow up in the Cascades. We'll probably go an additional 2 to 4 inches on Monday. It does cool off. You can start to see temperatures are now getting lower and lower throughout the course of the 7-day. Rainy conditions on Tuesday, again, snow in the Cascades. Showers on Wednesday, rain Thursday and Friday, and again, snow level 1,500 feet. We're going to keep it right there for right now. Just that's what models are looking like. If that changes, we'll definitely let you know. Sarah Bagby is going to be here tonight. You saw Avery this morning. I'm in tomorrow on our digital weather desk for a Sunday shift. So you'll see, of course, Avery in the morning, Sarah in the afternoon. I'll be updating stuff on K2.com. We'll probably do another video throughout the course of the weekend just to keep you guys kind of in the loop. Hope you've enjoyed this really kind of basic look at how we're forecasting snow, or at least I forecast snow. If you guys want to see more of this, please let us know. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Thank you for liking the video as well. We produce these videos for you. Hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk with you all on Monday.